We strive for peace across the Taiwan Strait, for the well-being of our compatriots, and for the rejuvenation of our nation. We ensure that the future of cross-strait relations is in the hands of the Chinese people themselves.
The Taiwan Strait will no longer be a focal point of potential conflict, nor will it become a chess piece played by outside world. The Taiwan Strait will be a strait connecting kinship, civilization, and hope.
Is the next global flashpoint already igniting because of President Trump's critical blunder in Middle East negotiations? Has Trump's Iran victory deal with Xi Jinping paved a dangerous path straight toward a potential Chinese invasion of Taiwan? China accelerates Taiwan war preparations as she masterfully plays Trump like a chess piece on the geopolitical board. Taiwanese opposition leader's rare visit to China signals she's calculated endgame to undermine island defenses from within. Will Trump sacrifice Taiwan's security to thank China for helping extract him from the Iran conflict quagmire? China had appeared as a key power broker in the push to achieve a U.S.-Iran ceasefire, positioning itself as a behind-the-scenes influencer in the region's fragile diplomacy. While Beijing was not the primary architect of the deal, it played a notable role by quietly encouraging Tehran to engage with Washington and consider the proposed two-week pause. According to a Wall Street Journal report, the move was partly aimed at earning goodwill with U.S. President Donald Trump, who has publicly suggested that China helped bring Iran to the negotiating table. China's outreach is closely tied to its economic interests, as Tehran remains a major supplier of discounted oil to Beijing, despite Western sanctions and market volatility. The report also hinted that President Xi Jinping may be hoping to use the crisis as leverage to shift the focus toward China's long-standing position that Taiwan is a breakaway province of China. This comes ahead of a crucial summit between Donald Trump and Xi Jinping scheduled for May, which is expected to address trade tensions, technology restrictions, and the Taiwan question. The timing of these diplomatic moves suggests Beijing is trying to strengthen its bargaining position ahead of talks on both trade and the sensitive Taiwan issue. China hopes that by helping to stabilize the Iran situation, it can push the United States toward greater concessions or at least a more accommodating posture on Taiwan-related policy. At the core, Beijing wants the US to reduce its political and military support for Taiwan, including arms sales and high-level unofficial contacts with the island's leadership. Xi Jinping has repeatedly framed reunification with Taiwan as a central legacy issue of his tenure, treating it as a non-negotiable goal. This comes as Beijing's broader reunification bid has gained momentum amid the chaos in the Middle East, which has temporarily diverted US attention and military focus. On April 10th, Xi Jinping held a rare meeting with Taiwan's main opposition leader, Cheng Li-wan, highlighting Beijing's attempt to cultivate dialogue with factions that favor closer cross-strait ties. The meeting marked the first time in roughly a decade that the sitting leader of the Kuomintang, KMT, has visited mainland China, making it a symbolically significant event. During the talks, both sides emphasized the need for peace and stability across the Taiwan Strait, underscoring the importance of avoiding conflict and economic disruption. She reiterated Beijing's long-standing position that people on both sides of the strait belong to one Chinese nation, describing the meeting as part of a broader effort to promote peaceful reunification.
This meeting between the leaders of the two parties today is intended to safeguard the peace and stability of our shared homeland and to promote the peaceful development of cross-strait relations so that future generations may share in a better future. Building on the shared political foundation of upholding the 1992 consensus and opposing Taiwan independence, we will work together with Taiwan's various political parties and groups, including Kuomintang, as well as people from all walks of life, to strengthen exchanges and dialogue, to seek peace across the Taiwan Strait, to promote the well-being of our compatriots, to work for the prosperity of the nation, and to keep the future of cross-strait relations firmly in the hands of the Chinese people.
Remember, ahead of the high-stakes meet with China's president, Li-wan had pledged for Taiwan ultimate reconciliation with the mainland.
The core values of Sun Yat-sen's ideal that all under heaven are equal have always been equality, inclusiveness, and unity. We should work together to promote reconciliation and unity across the Taiwan Strait and create regional prosperity and peace. The Chinese Nationalist Party successfully built Taiwan, Penghu, Kinmen, and Matsu into a fine society marked by democracy, freedom, the rule of law, and shared prosperity. Likewise, on the mainland, we have also seen and borne witness to progress and development that have exceeded everyone's expectations and imagination.
Basically, the Chinese Communist Party's strategy toward Taiwan still mainly relies on a combined tactic of coercion and pressure. On the one hand, it uses military intimidation and the previously mentioned gray zone harassment to create an atmosphere of imminent conflict across the Taiwan Strait, causing Taiwanese society and the public to feel psychological pressure and anxiety about being on the brink of war. On the other hand, it also promotes the so-called cross-strait peace led by the CCP through various cross-strait exchange activities, as well as emphasizing possible knock-on effects they call peace dividend for Taiwan under a CCP-led cross-strait peace framework. The first objective of China is to divide Taiwan's internal society in order to amplify the voices favoring a pro-China accommodationist line, and thereby further obstructing efforts in Taiwan Parliament to push forward initiatives to procure arms from the United States. The second division targets cooperation between Taiwan and the United States. Through such cross-strait exchange activities, China attempts to shape the perception that there is still a certain degree of shared opinion between the two sides of the strait regarding cooperation, to thereby weaken U.S. involvement in the Taiwan Strait situation or its standing to speak on issues related to the Taiwan Strait.
Taiwan has dramatically upped the ante in its ongoing tensions with China, announcing that it is preparing itself for the possibility of an all-out war within the next 2 years, signaling a major escalation in cross-strait relations. The Taiwanese government has urged the nation to maintain a state of full battle readiness, warning that China could attempt to seize the island by force as early as 2027, raising alarms among military analysts and global observers alike. Taiwanese President Lai Ching-te revealed plans for a significant boost in the country's defense spending, emphasizing the urgent need to strengthen the island's military capabilities in the face of an increasingly assertive Beijing. The island nation is now aiming to raise its defense budget to as much as 5% of its GDP, putting it on par with some NATO countries and marking a sharp increase in its military preparedness. To counter the growing threat from China, Taiwan will deploy a supplementary defense budget totaling $40 billion, a move intended to enhance both its defensive and offensive capabilities against potential aggression. President Lai also announced that part of these funds would go toward developing the so-called T-Dome, a homegrown air defense network designed to intercept incoming missiles and protect critical infrastructure across the island. The funding will also support the construction of the T-Dome, a comprehensive air defense shield that is expected to greatly improve Taiwan's ability to counter potential attacks from the mainland, Lai stated, highlighting the strategic importance of the program. In response to global trends in defense development, we will gradually increase defense spending. According to NATO standards, next year's defense budget will exceed 3% of GDP, and by 2030, it will reach 5% of GDP, demonstrating our determination to safeguard the nation. To build key capabilities for future warfare, the Defense Ministry has completed planning for the Special Act on Procurement for strengthening defense resilience and asymmetric capabilities and its budget. Over the next 8 years, 2026 to 2033, an investment of 1.25 trillion new Taiwan dollars, $39.89 billion, is planned to develop the Shield of Taiwan, an advanced air defense system featuring layered defense, high-level situational awareness, and effective interception. The integration of high technology and artificial intelligence to create a resilient defense operations system enabling efficient decision-making and precision strikes, and the enhancement of defense self-reliance, strengthening the defense industry to achieve a dual win in economy and security. These efforts will form an advanced defense operations system with 3 major characteristics. Lai warned that any attempt to compromise Taiwan's sovereignty would amount to nothing short of enslavement, stressing that the island would never submit to external pressure or threats of aggression from China. The Taiwanese president explicitly cautioned Beijing that its sovereignty cannot be violated or forcibly annexed, making clear that Taiwan will resist any attempts at coercion or reunification through military means. Lai further accused Chinese President Xi Jinping of accelerating military preparations aimed at forcibly taking control of Taiwan, framing it as a deliberate and urgent threat to regional stability. China is actively seeking to force reunification through military measures, and we must remain vigilant and prepared to defend our nation against any such attempts, Lai declared during a national address.